Well, hello there. Um, I'm back again. So, yeah, I streamed yesterday for a bit, and that didn't go too well, to be honest, because ooh, I was having some internet issues. My frame rate went down the toilet. It got super crackly around like the 43-minute mark. Um, it cut out like twice, and it was about to again a third time. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna end it before it shuts down again. So yesterday I did a review of God of War Ragnarok, and today I'm gonna be doing a character discussion, this is what I wanted to do the whole time. But I'm glad that I ended up breaking it up into two parts anyways. One part for the review, and then this part for the meat and the bones of what I actually want to get into today. I don't know how long it's gonna go. I'll make an estimate and say like 2 to 3 hours. Probably is around the same length as my stream. That's my goal anyways. Because I just love talking about these characters and analyzing characters. That's what I do here. There was a section at the end of my review where I went over some unanswered questions that I still had. But that part got really bad in terms of the audio. It was super crackly. And I have that piece of the VOD here on Twitch, but I'm not going to publish that. It's like 4 minutes anyways, and like I said, it's super crackly and distracting, so I'll just do that at the end of this one, and then, put it to YouTube. Hope everybody's day is great. I'm going to be starting here soon. Make sure to get some water. I'm going to be talking a lot here, so I have my notes. I have a lot of notes prepped for today, actually, because I just had so much to say. And even then, I'm probably still missing some stuff, which is what I hate. I hate not getting everything in one go, but that's just how it is. Yeah, I would just love to hear your guys' thoughts as well on my thoughts, or just give your general takes about God of War Ragnarok and its characters. I also have like a little slideshow prepped, just so that like if you want to skip through the video, you can very easily see who I'm talking about by their picture on the screen. So if you want to skip to, I don't know, Odin or Freya or Atreus, you can always just do the preview on, I think Twitch also has a preview thing. But you can just look in the preview and see whose picture's on the screen and then click accordingly. If you would like to, of course, you can have me open in the background while you do something. I don't know, but consume how you will. Regardless, though, thank you for taking time to watch these stupid little videos, these little streams. I just like having my thoughts out there, really. I have a lot to say about characters and things, and, like I said, analysis is something that I do here. So, I'm gonna get started in a minute. Hopefully everything is working today. But if not, I can always try again another day, or I can just record a video through Streamlabs using the exact same format. But we shall see. We'll see. Let me change the music a bit to, you know, the lo-fi playlist. You know, I gotta listen to that. Give me 1 second here. Let me try to find the one from yesterday. I had on this like lo-fi, like jazz playlist. Yeah, here we go. Like a coffee shop playlist. Let me just continue this where I left it off. Okay, so without too much further delay, I'm gonna start. Okay, now I'm gonna start. And, you know, just as a warning, this is going to be talking about God of War Ragnarok. So if you have not finished the game, or if you have not played the game yet, please don't click on this. Just ignore it. Play the game first, come back later maybe, or don't, I don't know. But it's going to contain massive spoilers for the game. So please proceed with caution. There's no way I can talk about the game and not discuss the spoilers, so just beware, beware. Okay, so first I wanted to get into, you know, our protagonist, Big Dad Kratos. I have a lot of notes. And I will say, like, after I beat the game, I watched a lot of people play Ragnarok, of course, to get everyone's reactions and all of their opinions and whatnot. And then I also went back again and watched the beginning of God of War 2018. And the beginning of that game is rough. When I say rough, I don't mean like it's bad. I just mean like it's rough, really rough in terms of Kratos' and Atreus' relationship. I said this in yesterday's review stream, but their relationship has like never been easy. They made it very apparent that Kratos was not really around that much in Atreus' life. That everything he knows is pretty much from Faye, his mom. We know that Kratos was terrified of how godhood would affect his son. He was terrified of, I think, being a bad influence on his son. He was terrified of having his mistakes show up in Atreus, or he was terrified of Atreus making the same mistakes as him. That was just his worst nightmare. And as a result of that fear, he remained distant from him, which, you know, was detrimental to their relationship because they never really got to get to know each other until after Faye had died. It's a little sad how, you know, it took her dying for him to really be in his life. And of course we know that he loves his son, but that fear was just always there. Their relationship was very strained and very tense in the beginning. I remember like Faye's funeral scene, and like the two of them are just kind of awkwardly standing there. I think Kratos like side eyes him or like gives him a glance, and it's just like oof. Like during this moment, like I feel like the parent would be comforting their child, you know, of going through this huge loss in their family. And he just was just standing. They were both just standing there awkwardly. I was like, ooh, this is rough. So I just wanted to, you know, get that there. But of course, over the years, their relationship has improved drastically. I wouldn't say it regresses in Ragnarok. I think what happens with them happens with, I mean, everybody. Because everyone's a teenager at some point. Everyone's a child. Parents have to deal with their teenage children and, you know, all the challenges that comes with being a teenager. It's natural for a teen to want to, you know, discover their identity, figure out who they are, their place in the world. But I'll get to that when I get to Atreus. But as for Kratos, I mean, what can I say? Like, his character development has been, like, fantastic. It has been so amazing to just watch him grow. And like I said in the beginning of 2018, he was very cold and distant. And over time, he grew to understand Atreus more. And Atreus, you know, grew to understand him more. And he, you know, he grows to become a very protective, little too much so, like a very protective father that loves his son deeply and wants to do the best for him. And I think he's really just trying to understand his son, but Atreus is not throwing him a bone. He's not. It's just his journey has been incredible to watch. He is a lot more vulnerable in this game, I've noticed. And because of the facial technology with the mocap, you see a broader range of facial expressions, not only with Kratos, but with every character. For Kratos, that's important, you know, because his voice has very little, I guess, kind of similar to my voice, or his voice has very, a very limited range of expression. And so his face really is very telling in a lot of these scenes. He openly talks about Greece now, which is like amazing. Because he obviously, the last game, he never would have done that. But in this game, we see him talk openly about Greece and and you know, his childhood, his upbringing, his actions in Greece that led him to leave. He talks about these stories to Mimir, to Freya, to Atreus. And, you know, he was even so vulnerable as to tell Freya about what happened with his past family. And, like, I can't even imagine, like, the amount of, like, inner strength it takes to be able to talk about that. You know, because what he did, it technically wasn't his fault. He still did it, but it wasn't entirely his fault. It's just, I do have a lot of respect for Kratos, a lot of newfound respect. Even like besides Greece, he's just a lot more open. Well, not a lot more, but he's more open with people. He's willing to listen, which is, I think, a really important point as a father. He's willing to listen and, like, hold himself accountable for his actions, which is really important as a parent. I mean, I'm not a parent, so I don't know, but that's a really important thing to have. I think I talked about this earlier. But just a broader range of emotions and emotional intelligence he like admits that he's tired at one point. There's that one point in the game where I think Kratos is at his lowest, and that's when he finds out through the Norns that Heimdall plans to kill his son. And him and Brock go on, they go to the forge, and they get Draupnir, they go back home, and Mimir's like, okay, what the fuck are we doing? What's the plan here? And Kratos is like, bro, I don't know. I'm fucking exhausted right now. Leave me alone. Like, he admits, like, he's like, I'm tired. And I was like, oh, like, it made me feel, I felt really bad for him. Like, I wanted to give him a hug or something. I felt really bad. And then he goes into his room and immediately, like, just strips, like, his armor, his weapons. He drops the blades first. And then, like, his wrist armor, what do you call it? The chest armor, the axe, and he's just kind of bare. He's shirtless. He's like fully. This is the first time we've seen him be fully shirtless in the Norse saga. I think it's poetic. It's just him laying everything out. Like, he was stressed. He was so stressed and exhausted. He's like, my son's life is in danger, but I don't know how to get to him. But at the same time, if we do go to Asgard, we might very well stir up Ragnarok, and I don't know if I'm going to survive past Ragnarok. It's just, he's dealing with so much at that time. He has a lot on his mind. And that was kind of like a breaking point for him. I mean, for his sake, I'm glad that Atreus came back on his own. So that was one less thing to worry about. I mean, that was his main priority, was his son's life, of course. And of course, we see how far he's willing to go for his son. And, like, speaking of, like, emotions and just a broader range of emotions, there are several points in this game where, like, he's literally, like, holding back tears. Like, you see his eyes and you see his lips, like, quivering. Like, he's holding back from crying multiple times. I think the first time is the scene that I just described, where he's shirtless in his room and he's exhausted and he wants to go to sleep. And he grabs Faye's little pouch where her ashes were. And again, his lips are quivering and his eyes, there's just, like, so much sadness in his eyes. And you can tell, he really misses her and he really wishes that she was here. Because, he has to shoulder all of this on his own. He's a single, widowed father. He has to bear all its responsibility on his own. And I don't know if his reason for wanting to cry is because of that, or because of it could be both. Her being gone, him probably not knowing what to do in that scene, and, like, needing her. The next part is right before Ragnarok, when they're in their tents sleeping and all that, and Atreus comes in to sleep with him in his room, his tent. That was super cute. I love that part. He's like, "Can I sleep here tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, that's so cute." But yeah, he tells a story to Atreus, and Atreus goes to sleep, which again was super cute. The fact that he's able to fall asleep, like, to his dad's voice. And, like, he's putting his hand on Atreus's, like, his shoulder, and just looking at his son as he's asleep. And I think, again, his lips quivering. Even though, he doesn't believe in prophecy necessarily, he still hasn't forgotten. He's not, like, completely dismissing it either. He's in this weird in-between phase where, like I said, he does, like, deny it. He does, like, he's kind of, he's broken prophecy in the old God of War games apparently, and I say apparently because I haven't actually played them, but I know the story. But it's still in the back of his mind the whole time, and he's probably been thinking about his death for the entirety of the 3 to 5 years since he saw the shrine. So it's been on the back of his mind. He's like, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna train Atreus to survive on his own in case something happens to me. And I think in that moment in the tent where he's touching Atreus' shoulder, I feel like he's thinking like, is this the last night I'm gonna spend with my son? Is this our last night together? Am I gonna make it out of this? What's gonna happen to him? Just worrying about if he's gonna make it out or not. And again, like he's carrying so much just stress. He's carrying so much in this game. And then I believe he actually cries at the end of the game, where he sees the true prophecy. Because there's the one in Jotunheim that they saw in 2018, which didn't tell the full story. It got to the part where, it just showed his death, but then they revealed at that part in Ragnarok that Faye is the one that destroyed the rest of it. She probably knew it would deeply upset the both of them, and she's like, you know what, nah, they don't need to see that right now. Which Angerboda also says, like, she went against the giants to protect you guys. They probably wanted the mural to stay up, but she wanted to protect her family. From pain. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he actually cries when he sees the true destiny, which I still don't know really what to make of. Because it shows him like he's yellow, and like you have people below him like offering food and gifts and like praising him and worshiping him. And part of me was wondering, does that mean Kratos is going to be the new Allfather, like in place of Odin? Or perhaps it just means that he's going to be remembered as the hero of the Norse realm, saving them from Odin's tyranny? Is that the right word? It could be one or the other, or it could be both. I don't know. But, because for so long he never imagined that he would actually be like someone else's like champion or hero because of everything that he did in Greece. Understandable. I mean, I wouldn't have expected that either if I did all those things. But I think it marks the end of his sort of redemption arc. He was the blight of Greece, and now he's the hero of the Norse who put an end to Odin's rule, and again could potentially be the new Allfather. He'd be a pretty chill Allfather, though, to be honest. Like, Kratos wouldn't, like, stick his fingers in everything like Odin did. Like, he wouldn't really, like, care too much. Like, I feel like he'd want to help the realms where help is needed. But, like, other than that, I feel like he would kind of just let the people govern and rebuild as they see fit. He'd just be kind of, like, a support, just in the background. Support them if they need him. He's no Odin, so I think the realms are safe with Kratos. And, that being said, I think that would be like the perfect place to end his story if they were to continue God of War. I mean, I feel like this is the perfect place to start Atreus' story. Have Atreus in the forefront, looking for the giants, maybe trying to bring them back to Midgard and Jotunheim and telling them that, it's safe, Odin's no longer a threat, Thor's no longer a threat, blah blah blah. Or maybe they don't want to come back. I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I don't know. But I guess we would see if they decide to go that route. Have Atreus be the protagonist, but maybe show Kratos in the background. Like I said earlier, maybe him, Freya, and Mimir are continuing to help the Nine Realms rebuild and get back on their feet after Odin destroyed after Odin kind of ruined everything. I mean, who knows? Maybe Tyr could be a part of their gang too. Who knows? Let's see. I think I've made this point too about, Kratos and Atreus like constantly butting heads. Ironic that I show this image when I say that. The scene was cute too. But them constantly butting heads. Atreus wanting to find out his destiny, find out what all of these things mean, because he is finding a lot of stuff. He's finding the murals, which only he can access because he's a giant. He's finding the marbles, like he's finding all these little tidbits in this throughout the course of the game, and I think he's right for wanting to further explore what those things mean. But Kratos, he doesn't think that they're like silly, but he doesn't take them too seriously and just wants Atreus to be safe at the end of the day. Like, yes, he does let him kind of dictate where they go. He does let them go find Tyr, despite what he initially wanted. But of course, his son's safety is his number one priority. I wish Kratos had believed in him a little bit more. He admits later on that his sort of mistrust is what ended up driving Atreus away. Not to say that Atreus is not without blame. He is, like, he does get out of pocket in this game. We'll get to that later. But that's been their struggle, is trying to come to some sort of understanding and to reconcile and talk. Because they both have two very different goals. Let's see what else. I have a lot of notes. He, like, actually has, like, friends in the game. Like, even though he doesn't always, like, I think he thinks Sindri is annoying, but he still cares about the Holdra brothers. And, I think they had been in contact with him for, like, the couple years between this game and the last. Well, I guess Brock didn't see Atreus because he was surprised by him in Ragnarok, but I don't know. And Mimir, of course, I didn't even bring him up at all, but yeah, him and Mimir are like besties. I like it a lot. are homies, and like I'm happy that they're like such good friends. I think their personality tropes are just because you see this kind of dynamic in like a lot of things and like a lot of um like games and anime and shows and movies. You have this dynamic of like the straight man, quote unquote, which is just like the serious, more mature one, and then like you have the like comedic relief, and they like balance each other out. And I think it's the same with Kratos and Mimir. They both balance each other out, where Mimir is super talkative and charismatic, whereas Kratos is he has his own sort of sense of humor. Because I mean, he's so like unintentionally funny in this game. Like it's crazy how like unintentionally funny he is. He was kind of that way in the last game too, but especially in this one. Like the scene with Ratatoskr when you meet him for the first time and Kratos is just not ready. Like he was not ready for that at all. He's so confused. And like he's the funniest part of that scene, just how confused he is. It's great. Um but yeah, I'm happy to see that he's close to people again. And he becomes friends with Freya again, which I was so happy about. It would have been real like a real shame if like she was never able to forgive him or Mimir, because I wouldn't have wanted Kratos to like kill her either, because I mean not that he would. I mean she saved Atreus' life. He would never. I'm just glad that the the three of them are like they're besties by the end of the game. They're family now. I didn't even mention Faye. Wow. We actually get to see her in this game. Like, I didn't think we'd see her like at all, but we actually get to see what she looked like, and we get to see like her dynamic with Kratos and everything, and hearing like her words of wisdom for him. It's like she has like a message to tell him like at the end of every like dream that he has of her. I think except for the first one, but the second one she just tells him like to like protect their son, of course. And then the last dream she tells him, to open his heart to people, which he has. That scene, I actually teared up. That was such a touching scene. She was such a wise person. She was such a wise woman. I do really like Faye's characterization, and like she feels like a person, even though she's gone. Like she was a person. She, did things like before she met Kratos, during, we hear about her trying to lead a rebellion with Durlin against Odin and failing. She fought Thor at one point. I don't know why or what the context was, but apparently she fought Thor. In Vanaheim of all places, it looks like. There's a identical there was an identical like frozen lightning streak in Vanaheim, like the exact same one when Kratos fought Thor in the game. So I haven't finished that side quest yet. I'll get to it one day. Maybe I'll talk about it in the future when I finish it, but yeah, it seems like she fought Thor and maybe even won. I don't know. But yeah, Faye had clout. Like she knew Brock and Sindri, of course, because they made her the axe and they trusted her. She had clout. She was clouded up. Like Thor knew her, Odin knew her. It seems like Freya knew her as well. I don't know about Sif or Balder. Well, Balder might have known her. Yeah, he was looking for her in 2018, so he knew her. But you see that she was like a living, like an actual being before Kratos, not just, wife dies, that's it. She was a person with her own goals. She had her own accomplishments before Kratos was in her life. And even afterwards. And like she's such a special person. And she's very pretty. This is a random detail as well, but I noticed Kratos never speaks his own name throughout the game. This probably doesn't mean anything. Maybe he's ashamed of his name, but like everyone always introduces Kratos, like Mimir, Brock, Atreus. They always introduce Kratos to people and say his name, but he never says his own name. So I thought it was kind of interesting. I wish I got a picture of Faye on here. I wasn't even thinking about it. But another thing too is that Faye and Atreus' themes are weaved into Kratos' theme, which was beautiful. It's just amazing. It's so sweet of them to do that. Also, I have this armor on, this chest piece. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna get to Mimir for a little bit, and then I'll move on to Atreus and Angerboda. Mimir, as I said, him and Kratos are like brothers. They're like this now. Kratos trusts him enough to be able to ask his opinion on Atreus and like if he's doing a good job. I guess he's sort of co-parenting